All right. Hey, technical difficulties here, trying to click away, but hey, we're
All right.
here. We're back. Welcome to another episode of the HHW Show podcast. I'm your host Obi-Wan with the only true only Hector V in the house, and big shout out to Frank V. I know he said he was gonna pop up, and if he's there, hey, it's the same old. So check your email. But if you can't make it, man, that's all good. Uh, Listen, originally I had a lot of stuff to talk about the upcoming SummerSlam events, the match cards, and Cody Rhodes versus John Cena and everything
Mhm.
else. But I thought was is duly noted, and which many people are already aware of, is
Right.
the only Hulk Hogan who passed away today, and it was the biggest talk. Even those that are non wrestler fans and stuff like that, um, it's sad. It's sad, and it was a shocker to me. I couldn't believe it at first. I was like, "Wait a minute, Hulk Hogan, really? Are you serious right now?"
Right.
And I had to check my phone. It was during lunchtime, around 12 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Uh, Checking my phone, and all of a sudden, like it was just news after news after news. Every wrestling outlet possible announcing the passing of Hulk Hogan, to
Mhm.
the New York Post, Washington Post, and you name it, and you know you just know that he is an icon. Um, First and foremost, an icon, best known for his Hulkamania in the WWE. Hector, when you found out, man, what was the first thing that came into your mind?
I just thought it was fake news because, this sort of things has happened before, and I know in the past I've jumped a gun and I turned out to look like a fool because I didn't get the real information. So I kind of just left it alone. I mean, we've already been seeing celebrities passing away this week, and it's like it's kind of I'm not gonna sit here and say it's hard to believe because we're all gonna go sooner or later. But
Mhm.
when you throw Hulk Hogan's name out there, it's like, okay, so who's trying to get publicity out of this? You know what I'm saying? What's the publicity stunt out of all this? But no, I mean my phone, like you, was just kept on blowing up over and over and over. So I knew this had to be real. And then when I did see it on, I think it was Fox Nation or Fox something like that, one of those real big news outlets, then it was real. Now trying to get down to the nitty gritty on how, the whys, and all that. But yeah,
Right.
it's devastating. They're very very sad, very devastating. An icon.
Yeah, absolutely. The famous words that he always said, um, going into any interview and everything else is, he'll always say, "What you going to do when Hulkamania runs wild on you?" You
Hmm.
know, uh, man, like I said today, you know, with with heavy hearts and stuff, it's just still in the shock. I mean, it's shocking to me, but like you said, right? There's a time when it's gonna happen, right? But the breaking news did come out earlier that one of the iconic figures of professional wrestling history passed away at age 71 due to a cardiac arrest. Now, reports confirmed that Hogan suffered cardiac arrest at his home in Clearwater, Florida, just before, approximately a little bit before 10 o'clock in the morning. First responders attempted CPR for 30 minutes. He was pronounced dead at Morton Plant Hospital around 11:17 in the morning. WWE had released a statement honoring Hogan's legacy, and the world of professional wrestling is reeling from the loss of one of the most legendary performers. Um, and I would like to talk about his early life, his defining moments, the reality versus controversies he had faced, and then on top of that, um, yeah, like what do you remember most about Hulk Hogan? And we'll start off with the roots of everything else, and I go by to what I see, okay, not what everyone else is gonna say or do or what. So I got collected a bunch of pictures, and stuff like that I would like to share with you. First and foremost, I started watching Hulk Hogan when he was American Wrestling Association, the AWA, and most superstars that I did see before they went to WWF was here.
Right.
Shawn Michaels was in here, and Marty Jannetty and like so much others, right? And I watched along and everything. You can see Mean Gene Oakland right there, how he also went on to the WWF, now WWE. From there, um, what else did Hulk Hogan do with Vince McMahon putting him as the face of the franchise of the WWF slash WWE? And what you see there is the WrestleMania, the first WrestleMania, which was held on March 31st, 1985 at Madison Square Garden, with the main event being Roddy Piper and Paul Orndorff versus Hulk Hogan and Mr. T. That was awesome. And
Yeah.
Bobby Orton was in it as well. He was the third party, right? And from there on, it just took off. You can see Muhammad Ali in the middle, right? So there was so many celebrities and everything else involved that Hulk Hogan was the face.
Yeah. Oh, he definitely was the face, and I know we've talked about this a little while ago, and I thought and I think we still are. Like we were gonna talk about who is our Mount Rushmore of the WWE slash
That's right.
WWF. And
Yes.
I know a lot of people are gonna have their mixed emotions about Hulk Hogan, in and outside the ring, but you can do that with anybody, who's been in that square circle. Um, but you're right. I still stand on it that when you think about the WWE, you know, I would think about more than 80% of the people when you ask them who's the first wrestler you think about, people are going to say Hulk Hogan. Okay. He to me kind of cemented what the face should look like for a business at that
Hmm.
time. And he carried it for a long time, you know. And a lot of great superstars came after him. But when you think about the WWE, you cannot sit here and say you're not going to think about Hulk Hogan. Okay, Hulkamania. Okay, it seemed like Hulkamania was born right at the time of WrestleMania. You see what I'm
Right.
saying? So it's like
Right.
one of those catchphrases that caught on real quick in the '80s.
Hmm.
And of course, other superstars wind up getting theirs, but the Hulkamania thing will never die. I mean, the red and yellow, wherever those colors came from, it's just iconic. It will always be iconic. And to me, it will always be more iconic than the NWO that he was with. I mean, don't get me wrong.
Absolutely.
He did a great job with the NWO, but you cannot take away where it all started from. You know?
Absolutely. Yes. Born in 1953 in Augusta, Georgia. I didn't know he was born in Georgia. I always
Mm-hmm.
thought that he was from Venus, California.
Right.
Um, but his real name is Terry Jean Bolia. He
Mm-hmm.
was an amateur baseball standout before shifting into music and then wrestling.
Right.
The rise of Hulkamania in the 80s, the partnership with Vince McMahon that went nationwide, and the pop culture breakthrough. You like movies like Rocky 3 and the merchandises, the cartoons, the Hogan Knows Best, right? Uh, he did it all. He was the man. And if for everybody else to follow through as a professional wrestler and ended up changing careers to be actors, well, this is the guy that started it. Okay.
Yeah.
This is the guy that did it all and put everything on the mainstream. That is Hulk Hogan.
Yeah. And you look back, he started his wrestling debut at a late age, I would say,
Right.
compared to what these superstars are doing now. We talking
Hmm.
about 18, 19, 20 year olds nowadays starting off. But Hogan was, I think, about a couple of days shy of being 24 years old when he debuted, because he debuted right around his birthday in the
Hmm.
wrestling business, you
Right.
know, and coming in with a gimmick that nobody really knew about, but you got to start somewhere, you know. Um, and I think Shawn Michaels even said it best that every legend has a beginning of a chapter, and of course Hulk Hogan is that person. Um, but yeah, it wasn't until he broke into the WWE, WWF that he
For
became.
everything that he has done. Again, this is WrestleMania 1, WrestleMania 2, King Kong Bundy, and
Hmm.
this is a time where it was in 3 different locations
Right,
for this WrestleMania. WrestleMania 3, one of the best matches that Hulk Hogan had against Andre the Giant, which I always felt when I was a kid, man, I was heartbroken that Andre the Giant went as a bad guy because I always saw them as the good guy. Um,
yeah, you're right. I just feel like we have to really dig into the history of that because
mhm.
Hogan and Andre, this wasn't the first time they faced each other,
No, 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 none at all.
and
Mhm,
of course you're talking about two young men in their prime. Andre always got over on Hogan, but it wasn't
mhm.
until this transition that we knew that this was the start of the end of the Andre the Giant. But yeah, you really dig into wrestling history. Hogan could never get the best of Andre the Giant, you
Right,
know. But
right. Until
now,
that night,
until
until
yeah,
that day.
definitely, yeah,
Yep,
yeah,
exactly. WrestleMania 4 was the vacant title in which Randy Macho Man Savage won,
hmm,
and Hulk Hogan played a huge part and role right in this, because Randy Macho Man Savage was going against Ted DiBiase, but
right,
he also paid off Andre the Giant to help out,
hmm,
and Hulk Hogan and Andre the Giant were both disqualified,
correct, yeah,
but ended up again fighting it off to allow Randy or Savage to win. In that big celebration he had with Elizabeth and everything else, that also led to WrestleMania 5, their rivalries.
yes,
Okay. So these two superstars were the marquee of everything during that era. Yeah.
yeah,
So imagine two legends now passing right here in this screen, man. It's like you would think that he will go to the gates of heaven and be like, all right, I'm ready for another match with Randy Savage. All right. So, but yeah, I mean, from there to WrestleMania 6, another legendary match between Hulk Hogan and the Ultimate Warrior during that time, that it was the first time ever in WWF or WWE that you had two champions in the main event go against each other, the Intercontinental Champion versus the World Heavyweight Champion. And I keep saying this over and over again that the Ultimate Warrior was the very first two-time champion,
yeah,
two
definitely,
belt champion. I say that right, a two belt champion, which by the way he had to relinquish the Intercontinental Championship.
yeah. Looking back at this, I thought it was great for business at that time because maybe this was the passing of a torch. But now, looking at it today, I feel like this should have never happened because Ultimate Warrior was just to me a one hit wonder. He didn't do anything with that title. He didn't do anything to carry himself or be the face of the business. So of course, yeah, we all learn from our mistakes, right? And we have to go back to the drawing board. And what do? We put the belt back on the rightful person who is the face of the business
Right.
for a shorter period of time. So yeah,
Yeah.
right there.
And
Hmm.
another one was Hulk Hogan versus Sergeant Slaughter. Another rivalry. Uh, the Great American Hero. Who's that best? You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So, and then you come look at it like Sergeant Slaughter's wearing the Iraqi stuff. Was it Iraq or Iranian?
I think it
One
was.
of them.
Yeah, I think it was Iranian. Yeah,
Yeah. And again, a lot of this their era was that Vince McMahon related to what was going on around the world.
yeah,
Um, and then Hulk Hogan, another main event. That he stood. Look, we're already at WrestleMania 8,
yeah.
and then on top of that, WrestleMania 9 had a lot of controversy
Man, was it?
because as soon as Yokozuna defeated Bret Hart, don't know if that was supposed to happen,
I
but
don't
then
think
all
so.
of a sudden you had Hulk Hogan come out of nowhere to have a quick match and win the title. I don't know. It left a lot of people scratching heads during that time. I didn't think about it. I was still young. You know what I mean? Like, oh my God, Hulk Hogan won the title again. But if you look at it, it was like, wow, you just took the momentum away from a new champion,
Yes. And
right?
see, and I think that right there was the maybe the beginning of the controversy behind the locker
Right,
room
because
where
after this, Hulk Hogan left.
yeah,
Because he did not appear in the WWE anymore, and that's what the next era kicked in with Bret Hart leading the way and stuff. Um, and then, but with through all that, WWE had their own cereal,
hmm,
pretty awesome.
yeah,
Um, I know he was in a lot of commercials and stuff, but he had his own cereal. He in a movie, No Holds Barred. All right, which also led to SummerSlam in 1989 between Zeus and Hulk Hogan.
yeah,
Oh, fascinating. And then he was in the Rocky 3 movie.
yes, yeah. What was his
What
name?
else?
Thunderlips or something like
Yeah,
that.
Thunder Lips, which come on, man. Come on, let's be real, man. Of all names, look at this dude. Out of all names, you're gonna call him Thunder Lips. Like I'm just curious on how when Hulk
She
Hogan was presented this script, right? Hey man, I want you to be in this Rocky 3 movie. Your new name is called Thunder Lips.
is in this picture. Is she looking at his lips to see if they're made of thunder? Stop it.
Oh, I think we could continue on with a lot more about Thunder Lips, but
Yeah,
we're just gonna leave it alone. All
yeah,
right, yeah, we'll leave it alone. But as you mentioned, man, as you mentioned, you stated Mount Rushmore in the WWE. Who should be on Mount Rushmore? Again, you guys could talk about a lot of controversies of everything else, the aftermath of his career, but for one, business will always be business. And I
yeah,
know we had a special guest on our show, Mr. Kurt, where we asked him about friendship and business, and you can't mix those up. It's a proven fact. You can't mix them up. Business will always be first, right? And whatever, look, it's not like I was there to live the life of being a superstar, being a wrestler, and everything else, but you got to get yours, right? You got to attack it. You got to get yours. It's just you. And if you don't attack it, you're not aggressive, then you won't shine. And I'm a firm believer that's probably what Hulk Hogan did, and besides, Vince McMahon reached out to him, right? And then from there on, they just moved on with what expanded to what it is today.
yeah.
Um, so I do believe that if there's a face on Mount Rushmore, Hulk Hogan is the number one person to be on there. I really do agree with that.
Yeah, I believe so too. I mean, I do have my other three, but we'll talk about that later on. This is about Hulkamania. I still remember, when he broke into the Madison Square Garden and won the WWF title. That title looked
Hmm.
funny looking back then. But
Yeah,
yeah,
I know, right?
it was like green. I mean, that thing was ugly. I mean, seriously. But
Oh man.
yeah, he was the he was definitely definitely a pivotal moment in the WWF, and you needed that face. Um, but he had a great supporting cast that made him look good. Roddy Piper, Paul Orndorff, the Macho Man for sure. If anybody was the Macho Man who was definitely that co-host part,
Hmm.
that really made him elevate Hulk Hogan to be more than what he was. Because you needed that one person that can bring the best out of Hulk Hogan, you know. And I think Macho Man did that. It helped him.
I think also that helped him is that when Hulk Hogan did leave the WWF and he went out to WCW, what helped him more was what can I do different? And it's something that John Cena is doing now, but this time he stayed within the organization. But Hulk
Right.
Hogan had to redefine himself to get a bigger audience, a bigger crowd.
Yeah.
And for that, he got creative to create the NWO with Hall and Nash.
Yeah.
That heel turn back in 1996 pretty much put a damper on WWF, and then they had to figure out as to how can WWF bring back the audience to bring back the ratings skyrocket up, right? And that's when you had the Monday Night Wars going on. Um, but then eventually Hulk Hogan came back in 2002, and then later on was inducted into the Hall of Fame. And if I'm not mistaken, I think his last match was it against The Rock. I think maybe he had a couple more, but I mean the signature was, and everybody could remember, is that the passing of the torch where The Rock defeated Hulk Hogan in WrestleMania.
Yes, because I believe Hogan was still donning the NWO colors, but
Hmm.
you could see the Hulkamania breaking through that heel factor, becoming
The
that face.
crowd did that.
The
Yes, the
crowd,
crowd did that.
even
Hmm.
though he dropped the match, which was good, but
Hmm.
the crowd brought back Hulkamania and made The Rock feel what Hulkamania was all about before he won the match. You know,
Absolutely,
and
absolutely.
that was a great thing. You know, and it was kind of weird that Hogan stuck around for a while and became a tag team champion. I never thought that would have ever happened.
Right, exactly. Oh,
That
I'm
was
glad that you mentioned that. Yes. Wow. You know, I totally forgot about that. Absolutely, because he was
I
the
don't
tag team champion with Edge.
right. Was it with Shawn Michaels too? Was it? I
No,
think it
no,
was
just
no,
one time
just one
World Tag
time,
Team Champion with Edge. Right. He's a two-time Royal Rumble winner,
back to
1990
back,
and
right?
91. Yep,
Yeah,
back to back. He was a six-time world champion.
right.
But his the overall awards were the Pro Wrestling Illustrated when he was the comeback of the year twice. He had the feud of the year with Paul Orndorff, the Andre the Giant, the main event, the match of the year. He had four matches of the year. The main event of WrestleMania 1, The Rock, The Ultimate Warrior. We mentioned those. Uh, the most hated wrestler was in 1996 and 98. But then he was also ranked number one in 1991 and in 2003 as the best singles wrestler of all time, man. Um, and then also he was also a tag team with Randy Savage, but they didn't win any titles.
No, no.
No. Um, but he also was again at WCW. He was a six-time world champion there too. So I'm just curious to see uh couldn't they like add those up together? No, maybe.
No, I don't think so because
I mean,
well,
because they did that with Ric
yeah, I
Flair,
was gonna say you're
so
right.
technically he was a
No,
12-time world champion.
yeah, I think technically if you want to go that route, yeah, yeah.
Absolutely, why not? Um, what else? Uh,
And just to put a note, Frank did mention that he did help put TNA on the map. You know, don't
yeah,
forget that he was in there
hmm,
for a little while, and stuff like that. I do remember watching TNA when he was there, and so yeah,
yeah.
it's so speechless. But yeah, we got so much, so much memories of this man, in the ring.
So American Wrestling Association. We mentioned that he had the song "Eye of the Tiger"
Hmm.
by Survivor. He WCW, the American Made. He had that music. Most of his interests, the music was epic.
Yeah.
Um, other thing he did was the Excitement Wrestling Federation. Not It's not that popular, but you're right. The Total Nonstop Action Wrestling. He was there. He did a little bit of that as well. I'm trying to also follow up on other stuff here. I mean, he had a lot of music. He had the Hulk Hogan's theme, the Eye of the Tiger, the Real American, which got popular, skyrocketed there with the singer Rick Derringer. Uh, I don't remember the Voodoo Child. I guess he had that by Jimi Hendrix.
Hmm.
I don't remember that, but the other also he also wrestled in New Japan Pro Wrestling.
Yes, he did. Yes. Hmm.
Hmm. Southeastern Championship Wrestling, the NWA. I didn't know about that one. But what else? Yeah, listen, this guy's done so much. Not only just in the ring, but then let's look at something else too. Acknowledging Hogan's complex legacy beyond the ring. Okay, again, Hogan's knows best. That was lasted for 2 years. It was an early reality TV popularity. He also had legal issues and media scandal. Where there were lawsuits and stuff like that he had to deal with. But the most important part that a lot of people remember is his racial slurs that he
Yeah.
had. If I'm not mistaken, he had a conversation with his daughter. Is that what it is? With
Yeah.
I guess with relationship. What I said, listen, I wouldn't take that of the grain of salt. I wouldn't categorize Hulk Hogan as a racist. How many of you, and I'm being real, how many has ever like said something racial slurs or anything like that? Um, it just mind boggling because a lot of people do it, but that doesn't necessarily mean they're racist. You have Hulk Hogan that's wrestled with all types of nationality, and to sit there and say that he's a racist is it's I don't think that that is factual. I really don't. Was it wrong for him to say those things? Yes, absolutely. I don't condone people with racial slurs, right? Um, but I also scratching my head. I was like, why would somebody record a conversation and wait years, many years later, and then trying to like make an investment out of it? You know what I mean?
Right.
So I don't know. I don't know. I know Booker T had an issue with it with Hulk Hogan. Every time they mention Hulk Hogan, the cameras are always looking at Booker T and stuff. And I don't even know if it's that's real or fake or what amongst what Booker T sees in Hulk Hogan. But I do know this is that you cannot always keep the hate on someone. Um, and it was one of the quotes that I learned from other human rights activists. Um, that they always say hate, you cannot always embrace the hate because it ruins you, not the other person.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah. Exactly.
right. So I wanted, like I said, it just doesn't define who Hulk Hogan really is. Um, and again, it's not like I hang out with him or anything else like that. It's just what he's perceived on television, what he has done for the WWE. I'm a big wrestling fan, and that's all I'm going to see it as a wrestling fan. He made movies. He did this. He did that. Lastly, he was trying to create a new wrestling that was supposed to start mid-year or towards the end of this year of a new style of wrestling that was supposed to be different from everybody else,
Yeah.
but he won't be have the luxury to debut it. And lastly, he had a commercial about the American beer, which is the IPA, which I've never drank and never purchased. So I'm gonna leave it like that. I got my favorites here in the local area here in the state of Connecticut, which
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
brew it on and it's so delicious.
Yeah.
So
You all about the IPAs? I know.
yeah, it's worth it. It's better than them watered down beer that people like to sell now. But anyhow, you gotta try it, man. You gotta try it. But then again, I don't know what's brewing over there in Texas. But absolutely, you like check out that IPA, man. One drink, that's it. Bought out for you. Um, Tributes went ahead for Hulk Hogan. I'll start with Ric Flair's post. He said, I've lost my brother. Hulk Hogan made me believe in heroes. John Cena also made a tribute stating he inspired a generation. He built the ring we wrestle in. And that's facts right there. I don't care where you at or who you are, you a wrestler, you're in that ring. Just remember you were following Hulk Hogan's steps.
Yeah.
Triple H, Mick Foley, The Rock, and others, Hall of Famers, made statements. The fans' reaction online was stated and was said, without Hogan, there's no WrestleMania. And there's been a lot of mentions internationally, tributes from Japan, UK, and all over Latin America. And again, this goes on and on and on. Uh, the reflection of Hogan's lasting influence in the culture, the creation of larger than life of wrestling persona. That was some of the themes that he had. The merchandise phenomena of the 1980s. We had toys. We had wrestling rings. We had the thumb wrestling toys. I don't know what type of toys you had.
I had his workout set
Oh, what?
and the cassette tapes. Yeah.
Wow. The
Hmm.
cassette tape.
Yeah, he had like a cassette tape, like some kind of
Yeah. I
workout thing.
used to like the cereals where they had the prizes in there. He also was in the Honey Nut Cheerio commercial.
Hmm.
And so you buy the Honey Nut Cheerio, you get those prizes inside. I don't know if they still have those prizes inside the cereal boxes nowadays. I don't know. Um
It's very, yeah. It's not
yeah,
what
it
it used to
wasn't as
be.
big as before, like baseball cards and stuff. The wrestling cards used to be in there too. Um, but yeah, and I remember trying to get those, even though they weren't that much valuable because they it was stamped with cereal box name brands and stuff like that. But
But
it
it was
was hard
fun.
to get your favorite wrestler though.
Yeah, yeah, it definitely was. Talking about
Uh,
buying all the boxes off the shelf just to hope to get one.
why? Because if you're looking for one, that one box is probably in another country. That's what we
Yeah,
always said.
yeah,
Influencing kids to be healthy, eat your vitamins, and say your prayers. That was always big. Um, and again, we talked about how he was the first writer to become a Main Street global icon. And his popular, I know The Rock has grown more, probably has a record of followers and everything else than Hulk Hogan. But remember, Hulk Hogan did this without social media.
exactly.
That's very, very hard. Um, and then he also it was stating that he influenced a modern superstars like Cena, Roman Reigns, and Cody Rhodes. So again, I mean, he's done a lot. He's done a lot, and you can't put that shame on him. Um, but also, like I said, it's a moment that we could always sit back and relax. And I don't know what they're gonna do and the WWE when it comes to a tribute to him. I know that if you check out the website www.com, um, there's a huge tribute. There's a large writing of Hulk Hogan. And normally, when a superstar passes away, they always have that blurbage of, "Oh yeah, he was in WWE, did this." Our condolences to the family. This is totally different. And when I was like, damn, I mean, it was paragraph after paragraph. It goes in detail of everything that he had done for the WWE. It's rock solid.
It is. I think they should maybe take in consideration to name something after him when it comes to the WWE, whether it be an award or a title or some kind of stipulation match, like Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal, something along that line, because he was, when he was the epitome of wrestling, he was the face. So something got, they got to give some kind of tribute to this man. You
Right.
know.
Yep. I do. If they could do it for the Warrior, if
Oh
they
yeah,
could do it for Andre the Giant, right? Um, and I know they do the Andre the Giant, but the over the top battle royal, right? Which lately they haven't been doing it in WrestleMania. That they've been doing it like on SmackDown now.
yeah.
Um, but there's got to be a tribute in WrestleMania,
Something got to be named after
right?
him. I mean,
Because
it
again,
just,
without WrestleMania, you didn't have Hulk Hogan.
yeah,
And the reason why there's a tribute because the name WrestleMania did not originate Hulk Hogan. It was
yeah,
Pat Patterson,
right.
right? That was his idea. Hey, how about WrestleMania? You know, now
Hmm.
I'm sure that everything geared for Hogan because of Hulkamania, right? Um, but I do believe, and you're right. I agree with you 100%. There's got to be something done. Maybe at the end of the year they can have like the most valuable superstar, the Hogan Award or something like that. They can name it
Yeah,
like the MVP, right?
right, right.
With the NBA has it, the MLB, NFL, they every the Lombardi Trophy, the Super Bowl champion, right? Is always
Hmm.
named after somebody. So what is it that WWE could do to honor Hulk Hogan?
And for him to be the only superstar to have a in-ring name and mania connected to it and still sound perfect, Hulkamania. You can't do that with Rockamania, Stonemania, Undertakermania. Nothing makes sense. Doesn't matter.
Taker
It doesn't matter who you try to put with the name Mania, and nothing's going to work like Hulkamania did.
Yeah.
Plain and
Yeah.
simple.
Yeah.
It's like, man, and it's kind of funny because Hulk Hogan sometimes didn't know how to sell a move because he gets all that crazy but it was awesome because the newer generation like the Cenas and the Shawn Michaels, the Rocks, they got to be a kid for that moment in that ring when Hulkamania did that to them, you
Right.
know, and it was
Yeah.
like I would have loved to have been in that position. But for them to witness that and experience it firsthand, that is Hulkamania. To allow him to do that to the younger generation and still put the new generation over, I mean, Hogan is not always a bad person because, again, look at yourself in the mirror, people.
Hmm.
Okay. Yeah, Hogan had his skeletons in the closet, but who doesn't? Nobody's perfect. We all have some kind of sin in our life. Okay. And for us to point the finger at every bad thing he's done, think about what you've done in your life. I'm not sitting here trying to defend Hogan, but I'm just
Hmm.
letting you know that, you know, he's human like the rest of us who makes mistakes. But you can't take away what he's done in the ring, what he's done for the business, and how he grew the WWF into what it is now. And it's going to continue on for hopefully for a longer time.
Yeah. Absolutely. And we're gonna end this final segment with a little tribute of me expressing the emotion and respectfulness of Hulk Hogan. And here we go. Hulk Hogan wasn't just a wrestler; it was a symbol, a force. He taught us to believe in the impossible, to get up after being knocked down. Whether you were chanting Hogan, Hogan, or booing Hollywood Hogan, you were watching greatness in motion. From the red and yellow to the black and white, Hogan redefined what it meant to be a wrestling icon. Rest in peace, Hulk Hogan. Thank you for everything you gave us. Hulkamania may have reached its final match, but its legacy will live forever, brother. Thank you
Which
for watching the HHW Show podcast. We'll be back next week with our prediction show. Man, SummerSlam is around the corner. We'll capture everything and much, much more. But I'm just gonna leave it like this. For 10 seconds, I'm just gonna leave up Hulk Hogan here. Rest in peace, brother. Take care. God bless.